Old days. It's like the old days, huh? Oh, man, we're here. Let me just make sure the YouTube's awake. There it is. There it is. What's up? It's like the old days. This is today only, by the way. We're at our old time. We used to start at this time. We now start an hour later. But for today only, because I have a couple obligations, we are starting at the old time. This is for today only. Today only. Today only. Just today. Tomorrow, we'll be back at the regular time, which is 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Today, we're an hour early. Just today. Just today. I really like that extra hour. But, sometimes you got other things going on, and you got to adjust accordingly. And that's how it goes. The Iowa Circus it's still going. It's still going. We still don't know the results. As of the recording of this, we still don't know the results. Supposedly later this afternoon, they're going to tell us a little more. Let's just make sure that's still the case. Let's just make sure right now, via a quick little Google search, that is still the case, that we still don't know what the hell happened necessarily. A little more is trickling in. Yep, still at about 71% reporting. And according to this, Buttigieg is up by a little bit. Bernie Sanders in a very close second. They're at about a tie for delegates. And of course, there was nothing shady here. Well, let's take a look at this. This is from 538, which they never get anything wrong. So it's important to look at them. He said very sarcastically. But there's an interesting paragraph here. So keep in mind, Bernie Sanders was in the lead in the first two popular vote counts. Then the realignments started happening, and now all of a sudden, Pete Buttigieg has a higher delegate count. So check out this paragraph here. This is great. So far, Senator Bernie Sanders is leading in the two popular vote counts, meaning more people, as far as individual people, want Bernie Sanders to be the person. Now, this is a caucus state, so you kind of go with where your preference is, and it's done that way. But physically, more people for Bernie Sanders, at least in the first two rounds, without a doubt. All right, so far, Bernie is leading in the two popular vote counts. 24% of caucus goers supported him on the initial ballot, 3 points higher than Pete Buttigieg. In the final realignment vote, after supporters of candidates who didn't meet the viability threshold, usually 15%, are allowed to pick a higher polling candidate. Sanders had 26% and only a 1-point lead on Buttigieg. What that means, so the Biden people, the Warren people, whoever did not meet the threshold of 15%, they get to realign. They get to go to a different candidate. After they all did that, Sanders was still ahead. So some people went over to Buttigieg. Some people likely went over to Sanders too. I'm sure some went over to each. Sanders overall still ahead. All right. But Buttigieg is currently polling more state delegate equivalents, which is what determines the number of DNC delegates a candidate receives out of Iowa. That split result is happening because Buttigieg is doing well in rural counties, which have a lot of delegates relative to their population. And Sanders ran up big margins in our urban areas and college towns, which punch a bit below their weight in terms of delegates. What is that a very flowery way of saying? That's a very flowery way of saying, hey, more people want Sanders. More people are for Bernie Sanders than for any other candidate, and Pete Buttigieg is second. But Pete Buttigieg is still technically leading, quote, in the delegate counts because of the way the system works, because of the way the system's tilted. That's what they're saying. They're basically saying, hey, you think it's one person, one vote? Well, it ain't, and we all know it ain't. But really, the will of the people be damned. That's essentially what they're saying here. That's what this paragraph is really telling you. And it's telling you in a very kind of roundabout, flowery way. But nonetheless, that's what it's telling you. So let's check this out. This is from Fiorella Isabella. I've been turning to Fiorella a lot the past couple days because she's in Iowa. So shout out to Fiorella from the Convo Couch. She's in Iowa. Shout out to Savage Joy, who was on this show last week. She's in Iowa as well. Those are some colleagues who are the boots on the ground right now in Iowa. She said this. She had a less flowery way of delivering that message. I like what she said a little bit better. Guys, what you're seeing is the Iowa Democratic Party deciding to give Buttigieg more delegates than Bernie, weighing him heavily in counties they desire, even though Bernie won the first 2 rounds. This is rigging. Fiorella just said in plain English and bluntly what 538 said in a very flowery paragraph, where basically, yeah, the people prefer Bernie. Bernie has the numbers, but they're giving Buttigieg the delegates because of the way that they weigh out these different counties. And it's tilted in his favor. That's not an honest election. That's not an honest election. Clearly, this is our system. That's why when I hear people say, when I hear people say stuff like, if Donald Trump wins again, that'll be the end of our democracy as we know it. My initial response is, stop trying to convince me something good could happen from another Trump presidency. I don't believe you. Ending this beyond corrupt system we have and getting a better election system in place, that'd be great. I don't think another Trump presidency would give us that. like they say it, like our fake democracy is something worth saving. It isn't. It isn't. The democracy where, the will of the people be damned. We need the superdelegates and the electoral college and gerrymandering. Ugh. So that's what's going on still in Iowa. That is what's still going on, and we still don't have all the results. All the results we're still waiting on. And some people are frustrated. Some people are really frustrated, and rightfully so. Here's something that Kate Johnstone shares. I like this a lot. Check this out. So here's the infamous coin flip. Hold on, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it with the volume. But here's the infamous coin flip, right? Where and I've never actually watched this, so this is my first time watching it. But here's what Caitlin says. She goes, "This is how the rest of the 2020 Democratic primaries are going to go." So let's check this out. This is the coin flip.
And then flip it over. Heads.
Look at all this stuff he did with the coin. Look at the... Oh, wait. You guys aren't watching. I'm sorry. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I took you guys out. Here, check this out. Here. All right. Here. We'll start again. I'm sorry. I forgot that I didn't put the screen back. My apologies. All right. Let's move it back. Okay. So here is the person flipping the coin. And, it's for Buttigieg. And here's how it's done. Watch this.
And then flip it over. Heads.
All right, so Buttigieg will get 3 delegates.
Wow. Well, look at that. Look at the way he flipped that coin. It's like he flipped the coin. He was just, okay, yeah, let's see here. It looks like somebody trying to do a magic trick, but they're really bad at it. You know what I mean? Like somebody is doing sleight of hand, but they've never done it before. So they're really having a hard time. They're like, yeah, okay, yeah, here, let's watch it again. Let's check it out. And they're saying other people are too polite to say anything. So this was about the awarding of a delegate. Pete Buttigieg just got a random one because of a coin flip, which isn't it great that the fate of the presidency in 2020 relies on a coin flip? We have a racist fascist in the White House Children are being put in cages. He's instigating an illegal war with Iran. He's taking food stamps away from people. And by the way, a lot of this is with bipartisan support. Another horrific trade deal went through. A tax break went through that benefits only the 1% and screws everybody else. And because the billionaires in our world do not pay their fair share of taxes, we can't have healthcare. We can't have affordable free college. We can't have a Green New Deal. We just need to pursue this economy of war. That's what's at stake here. If we don't have a complete realignment of priorities in this country, we are going to fall hard. And it's not just going to cost us here domestically. It's going to cost the rest of the world too. That's what's at stake here. And it's relying on a coin flip. Look at this.
When you're watching. And then flip it over. Flip it over. Heads.
Obvious cheating.
I cheated.
Obvious cheating.
Heads.
All right, so Buttigieg
Wow.
will get 3 delegates.
Wow. Obvious cheating. And they're too polite to say anything. Just blatant cheating. I mean, look at that. He's playing with the coin. Yeah, Buttigieg. Yeah, take my word for it. Buttigieg won. Wow. This is what's happening in Iowa. This is what's happening in Iowa. This is our system, folks. This is it. This is it. So Jordan Chariton is also on the ground in Iowa right now. Jordan Chariton also on the ground in Iowa. And, Pete Buttigieg has gotten some criticisms for not really having support amidst African Americans for a lot of reasons. And, here's what Jordan Chariton took the time to do. He took the time to talk to Black Lives Matter in South Bend. And here's what they had to say. Here, I want to hear what they have to say. Let's rewind it. Start from the beginning. All right.
For him. But what he's done is he's tried to dress up the corridor. So he's like, okay, well, Western Avenue, Lincoln Way. Now, we know people here are struggling and their houses are falling apart because there's not a lack of jobs. There's not many opportunities. But we're not going to worry about dealing with that issue. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to beautify the streets. We're going to knock down homes. We're going to throw up some street lights. And we're going to try to show or make it seem as though there's been investment in this area. But really, it's just about making it look nice and pretty for people who are coming from the airport or coming from out of town to go to Notre Dame games or to go and live or stay in downtown South Bend. As far as the Black and brown communities that are behind these streetlights, or in the neighborhoods, they're neglected. They're left to fend for themselves. And as a matter of fact, we know that their code enforcement office was used as a weapon to remove people from their homes or to take what little wealth they have. So as Mayor Pete is on the stage talking about how we've stolen generational wealth from African Americans in this country, well, he himself stole generational wealth from Black people in our communities, because although he may have seen this house that was run down and worn down and only worth $5,000, he might have thought like, oh, that's nothing. We should just knock that down because it's clearly in horrible disrepair. Well, for a lot of us, those were homes that we grew up in. And unfortunately, our families through the generations were not able to save and pass along enough money to fix up those homes. So obviously they fell into extreme disrepair. And he found a way to push us out of those homes. So if we were essentially punished for being poor. Mm-hmm. So if your grass was too long, he would come by and they will fine you $20 for that. Then next week they will come by and fine you for your siding, coming off your house. And they will fine you for your roof sinking. Mm-hmm. They will fine you for your porch, your concrete porch falling.
So that's really what's going on in South Bend. That's really what Pete Buttigieg is doing in South Bend. And that's why Black Lives Matter protest Pete Buttigieg events. And what happened when they were protesting outside of a Pete Buttigieg event the last time? The Pete Buttigieg people called the cops. They didn't go outside and said, hey, let's talk. Why are you guys protesting, Mayor Pete? What's going on here? We want to hear from you. They called the cops. That's what they did. And here's a quote from Black Lives Matter that they told Status Quo. With Pete Buttigieg declaring himself the Iowa caucus winner, which is 62% of the precincts in. This was tweeted a little while ago. It's now up to 71%. We're still waiting on the rest. Black Lives Matter South Bend tells Status Quo, another example of his white male privilege. It's an insult to the voters of Iowa and to the Democratic caucus, or excuse me, the democratic process. Do not wait until the final count has been released. And, you know, if they brought that message to Pete Buttigieg, you know, he'd probably call the cops. That's what he'd probably do. He'd probably call the cops. Now, let's keep in mind this app that malfunctioned. Why do we not have all of the results already? Why aren't we just completely moving on to New Hampshire? Why are we still waiting for some results in Iowa? Well, because of an app that was developed by a company called Shadow. They couldn't even, the shady as hell name. They couldn't even have a less shady name. Shadow Inc. You know, Deep State Dwellers was taken, so they needed to settle for Shadow Inc. And they developed this app. The public was totally kept in the dark about it. We talked about that on this show. Hey, they're going to use an app in Iowa. We don't know anything about it. And they're not telling us anything about it. Why didn't they tell us anything about it? Well, because Russia. If they told us something, Russia might hack it. But that app failed miserably. Who gave that app $40-some thousand? Pete Buttigieg did. And what other ties may exist? So this is from Lee Fong. This came out yesterday. New details show how deeply Iowa caucus app developer was embedded in the Democratic establishment. So Tara McGowan is in part of the firm acronym. Shadow Inc. is under the acronym umbrella. Tara McGowan is married to a senior Pete Buttigieg official. Here, let's scroll down to that. Where's that at? I've scrolled too far. McGowan, here we go. McGowan is married to Michael Hell, a senior strategist with the Buttigieg campaign. So this person who Shadow is under their umbrella, they're married to Michael Hell, a senior strategist to the Buttigieg campaign. Buttigieg paid $40-some thousand odd. And originally it was reported that was for software rights. Now they're saying, the campaign's saying that was just for text messaging. They're saying that's what it was for. But nonetheless, this entire organization has staffers from Hillary Clinton, staffers from Obama. Those are all the players involved here, all blatantly anti-Bernie. David Plouffe, a former campaign manager to Barack Obama's 2008 presidential bid, who joined Acronym's board, distanced himself from the company during the MSNBC panel last night. I have no knowledge of Shadow. That's what he said. But previous statements and internal Acronym documents suggest that the two companies, which share office space in Denver, Colorado, are deeply intertwined. They share an office space. Last year, McGowan, a co-founder of Acronym, and again, that's the person married to the Pete Buttigieg senior advisor, wrote on Twitter that she was so excited to announce another Acronym has acquired Groundbase, a firm that included their incredible team led by Gerard Nerera, are launching Shadow, a new tech company to build smarter infrastructure for campaigns. McGowan also noted that with Shadow, we're building a new model incentivized by adoption over growth and graphics over accuracy, apparently. The acquisition was announced in mid-January of last year. So that's who's behind this app. Shady coin flips, shady apps. And let's keep in mind who Pete Buttigieg is. This is a guy who has deep ties with the CIA. And his big motivating factor, his big purpose in life is to become president. That's what he wants more than anything else. And when he was 18, he knew, you can read his essay. I read it. I read it on the show, actually. You can read the essay he wrote when he was 18 years old, even at the age of 18, because he was very interested in politics and was a very bright guy. He is a bright guy. There's no denying that. He knew the choice that a public official has. You can either take the hard road and really stand by your principles. And when you do that, you're going to take some wins, you're going to take some losses, and it's going to be a long haul. or you can get in bed with the powerful and take easy street. And in his essay, he mentioned Bernie Sanders as being someone who did the former, someone who stood by their convictions, stood by their principles. And it was a long haul. Bernie Sanders won a lot. He lost a lot. Started as mayor, and here he is running for president. Well, Buttigieg didn't want to wait that long. Bernie Sanders in his 70s, Pete Buttigieg in his 30s. Buttigieg knew the choice he had, and he chose easy street. He chose, let me get in bed with the powerful because I want to be president. And he chose the most powerful. He chose the deep state. So that's what Pete Buttigieg is. And we're seeing it unfold in Iowa. This app that he had all these connections to, and they kept us in the dark about all this. They kept us in the dark about this shadow company and its connections to the Clinton campaigns and the Democratic establishment, and Pete Buttigieg funneling all this money into it for supposed text messaging. They kept us in the dark about all this because of Russia, Russia, Russia. And they knew that if we knew ahead of time, people might have been like, wait a second, that doesn't sound fair. This guy, the only other candidate that gave it pretty much any money was Joe Biden. He gave them like $1,500. Buttigieg gave them all this money. And the person who is a higher up in the firm that oversees Shadow, that Shadow's under their umbrella, they're married to a senior strategist for Pete Buttigieg, and they support Pete Buttigieg. This seems shady. This seems like maybe it won't be impartial. They didn't want those alarm bells to sound ahead of time. So they kept us in the dark, saying it was Russia. You can go back to the clip we did on the NPR piece where they said, well, we don't know a lot about the app or who's behind it. Because Russia. Can't tell you. Otherwise, Russia. And here we are, day 3. Pretty much it's day 3 of the Iowa circus. We still don't know all the results. They're still keeping us in the dark. And a couple things we do know. As far as people are concerned, Bernie Sanders, the winner. But the way they weigh the delegates, they're flipping it to Buttigieg. Because it's not the person with the most support that wins. We don't do it that way here in the United States. This is not an electoral system worth saving. It just isn't. We need a revolution desperately. We need ranked choice voting. We need paper ballots. We need free and open elections. And it's not going to happen at the federal level immediately. It's just not going to work that way. It has to happen one community at a time. If you're watching this and you're watching this circus and you're thinking, I need to get involved and I want to get involved on the electoral end, I'm going to go run for Congress. Don't do it. Don't do it. I will be that blunt here because I feel strongly about this. Don't do it. Run for city council instead. Run for mayor. School board even. Show up at your city hall. Because we can only do this one community at a time at this point. That's the only way. Don't run for city council instead. And I don't say this to begrudge any of the progressives who are running for Congress. I support them, and I will vote for any progressive that's infiltrating the system. I will vote for whoever I can, given the district. But it is just so muddy, and that's putting it gently, that the only way we're going to see structural change is one community at a time. And the circus continues. Now, another thing people have been asking about a lot is the Robby Mook connection. So Robby Mook, at first when this hit the presses, there was speculation out there that Robby Mook was behind this app. Well, Robby Mook was not directly behind this app. He is not involved with Shadow Inc. Not directly. And here's the statement that he put out about it. We're going to go check out this tweet that he put out not too long ago. Sorry, folks, I do not have anything to do with building the Iowa caucus app. I don't know anything about it, he says. Had no role in it. and don't own a company that makes mobile apps. I'm assuming he means apps there. He spelled it APA, but, you know, please contact the Iowa Democrats with questions about it. So it was reported that Robby Mook had direct involvement in this. He, of course, denied that. But later people were asking questions like, yeah, but he has some cross-pollination here. And what are they pointing at directly? They're pointing at the fact that he is part of an organization called Digital, what's it called? Like Digital Democracy something. Defending Digital Democracy. There it is. He's part of an organization called Defending Digital Democracy. They cross-pollinate with Shadow Inc. And all these people kind of coalesce, as indicated in the Intercept article. Now, here is something from the Washington Post. So we're going to look at this. Cybersecurity 202, Iowa Caucus app is the latest example of politicos building faulty technology with disastrous results. And they kind of, all right, so here they're quoting people. The most important lesson anyone should take away from this is that if you're going to use a new technology, that you need to very rigorously test it and exercise it and plan for what your backup will be if it fails. This is according to Aaron Rosenbach, a former top Pentagon official who leads the Defending Digital Democracy program at Harvard University. Now, that's the thing that Robby Mook is involved with, and that's why people were making the connection. Yeah, but Defending Digital Democracy has had some cross-pollination with Shadow. They have collaborated, and they're pointing to an event that took place. All right. So hold that thought here. Now, here's what Washington Post goes on to say about that. Let's see here. It's down a little bit. All right. As Democrats grew impatient for caucus results Monday night, Rosenbach's group, Defending Digital Democracy, which was built in part to combat misinformation campaigns and conspiracy theories, itself became the focus of a false rumor spread online. This is what the Washington Post says. Hundreds of people on Twitter began claiming that Defending Digital Democracy had built the malfunctioning caucus app, which they didn't. Shadow Inc. did. All right. Possibly because they learned the app had connections with Clinton's 2016 campaign, which they did. One of Rosenbach's co-founders is Clinton's 2016 campaign manager, Robby Mook. That's referring to Defending Digital Democracy. Robby Mook's involved with them. Mitt Romney's 2012 campaign manager, Matt Rhodes, was also a co-founder of the bipartisan group. The claim had no basis in reality. This is according to the Washington Post. But it exemplified how a phony narrative can take hold, especially when facts are hazy, and do real damage to the democratic process, Rosenbach told me. It's a near perfect example of how misinformation, disinformation, and a little bit of bad and irresponsible reporting turns into something that takes over parts of the switosphere in a way that contributes to undermining trust in the caucuses and in democracy. There's no evidence, this is according to Washington Post, again, there's no evidence that the false rumor was spread or amplified by a foreign adversary or anyone other than legitimately confused people online. Okay. Though many spreading it were Clinton critics, Rosenbach's group is considering how they might use the experience as a lesson in future education. Wow. Okay. So why? So they're saying there's no basis to this claim. That's what they're claiming. There's no basis to this claim. No basis in reality for people claiming that Robby Mook was in any way involved with this, or that Defending Digital Democracy is in any way involved with this, and that it was a total rumor. That's completely false. That's what Washington Post is claiming. So why is Washington Post claiming this? Why is Washington Post claiming, without a doubt, that Defending Digital Democracy had no exposure at all to this app? Here's why. You ready for this? This is the truth, by the way. Here's why. They believe them. That's it. So Washington Post is saying definitively it's a false rumor, no basis in reality, totally not true. They have no exposure. They have no awareness. What is Washington Post basing that off of? They believe them. Because here's what really happened. Here's why people are speculating. We're going to go over to the Des Moines Register. So check this out. We're going to scroll down a little bit. You ready for this? Both Iowa parties and their app and web development vendors participated in an exercise last fall with Harvard's Defending Digital Democracy Project. Okay, so that happened. The parties, the app and web development vendors, they all participated in an exercise. And who was that with? The Defending Digital Democracy Project. That's why there was later speculation that testing took place. There was a testing that took place. Robby Mook was part of that, as were all the Clinton advisors, all the people who, again, have cross-pollinated in all this. Led by campaign experts Robby Mook and Matt Rhodes, as well as experts in cybersecurity, national security, technology and election, blah, 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 blah. They simulated various scenarios involving cyber and misinformation threats to the caucuses. So Washington Post said this was based on nothing. This was based on nothing in reality. Really? They had an event together. They did an exercise together where they simulated various scenarios involving cyber and misinformation threats to the caucuses. That's nothing? That's not reality? Now, here's the follow-up. A statement from the Belfer Center, which is the Defending Digital Democracy Project. That's what that's under. It's under the Belfer Center over at Harvard. A statement from the Belfer Center said that no technology, including the mobile app, was used or tested at the event. And that's it. That's what the Washington Post is pointing to. The Washington Post believes them. They had an exercise on this topic in the name of the caucus. These app developers were there. The parties were there. They were all there. They were all there for this testing exercise. But they're saying the app wasn't tested. So whenever somebody says, hey, we know for sure that, now do I know what went on at this event directly? No, I don't. I was not physically present. But the Washington Post, they're being very definitive here by saying there's no truth to implying that Robby Mook had any involvement. And what is their basis? What are they pointing to? They believe them. That's it. They believe them. Do I know for sure, 100%, without a doubt? As of the recording of this, I don't know if something was tested or not. But we do know that this event took place, at least as of right now. If something comes to the surface later that this event itself never even happened, well, then, we'll do an update and we'll do a retraction. But again, no one's denying that this event happened. Again, both Iowa parties and their app and web development vendors participated in an exercise last fall with Harvard's Defending Digital Democracy Project, led by campaign experts Robby Mook and Matt Rhodes. Washington Post is saying that's nothing. That's meaningless. That doesn't matter. Why? Because a statement from the Belfer Center said that no technology, including the mobile app, was used or tested at the event. So basically, we may never know whether it was tested or not. It's not totally consequential, but the theme here is all these players. There's cross-pollination between the Clinton campaigns and the Obama campaigns and the Romney campaigns. And players like Robby Mook, very dishonest actors. They're all cross-pollinating here, and they made an app. They made an app under the company where a higher-up is married to a senior strategist for Pete Buttigieg. They're both fans of Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg pumped over $40,000 into this app. He was the only 2020 candidate that pumped that kind of money into it. And all of a sudden, the app's malfunctioning, but it looks like Pete's ahead. That's what we do know. And if you try to connect any of these dots, Washington Post will say that's totally false. And what is their big smoking gun? Well, they believe what Robby Mook and his people said. They just believe them. So if someone says to you, like, hey, implying Robby Mook had any involvement, well, that's all false. It's like, well, if you're saying it's completely false, that's just because you just believe them. This event took place. This testing took place. And again, as of the recording of this, that's not disputed. If we find out later this testing never happened, all right, that changes the story. But as of right now, as of me being live right now, no one's disputing that. They're just saying the testing didn't happen. And Washington Post believes it. Totally uncritically. All right. Media knocking it out of the park again. All right. So, guys, this brings us to the good news of the day. You know, sometimes I feel like, man, our elections are a sham. It's a scandal. Is there anything out there that we can point to and say, yes? The good news is there is. There's Nancy Pelosi, the queen of the resistance. Nancy Pelosi, guys, look, check this out. Look at that. Boom, she tore it up. What is she tearing up? That's Trump's State of the Union speech. She's tearing it up right behind him. Boldly. Boldly, boldly, boldly. Isn't that incredible? That's the resistance. Now, she was cool with his military budget. No problem there. Cool with giving him a new NAFTA. Totally cool there. Cool with not actually looking into his financial crimes in this impeachment circus, because that would actually make her liable for some things too, because she's complicit in that. Totally cool there. Totally cool with instituting PAYGO to kneecap any progressive agenda. Totally cool with fast-tracking his judges, giving him money for his border wall, cutting food stamps, not actually doing anything about DACA other than grandstanding when the cameras are on. Totally cool with all that. But she tore up a piece of paper. She tore it up. Here's what I had to say about that. I was worried that our election system was corrupt, and then I saw Nancy Pelosi tear a piece of paper. And now I know there's more important things than healthcare and living wages and ending an economy of war. Yes, Madam Speaker. And, it's one of those things. I have been saying the past couple days, and I really need to maintain this sense of optimism, but I've been saying the past couple days that we deserve better than this. That the American people, we deserve better than this. We don't deserve this. The people who went to Iowa, many of them volunteers on their own dime, and they're fending for themselves out there, they don't deserve this sham democratic process. They deserve better. We, the people, deserve better. We do not deserve this. And then you see people celebrating Nancy Pelosi, acting as if she's actually doing something to help the people. And you think, maybe this is the best we can do. You look at this and you just think, you feel like Jack Nicholson's character in the movie As Good As It Gets, where he says, maybe this is as good as it gets. When you see people like Nancy Pelosi, yeah, she's the resistance, baby. Yes, you're thinking maybe this is as good as it gets. Our elections are a total sham. What's happening in Iowa is criminal. We have a homeless epidemic. People are dying in the streets without health care. But she tore up a piece of paper. The resistance is real. They've given Trump gift after gift after gift after gift after gift during this entire impeachment sham. He's still given a State of the Union. Our politics have become beyond a parody of itself, but she tore up a piece of paper, baby. She's got us. She's got us. Wow. And that's when you think, man, maybe this is it. I mean, maybe we can't do better. But you know what? When I log on to these streams and I see you guys every morning, and usually it's an hour later. Again, by the way, if you tuned in late, we did a different time today. That's for today only. We're going back to our normal time tomorrow. I had something today that I have to be at 11:30 my time, and that's why we're doing it earlier today. This is just for today only. Whenever I have to alter the time, which does happen occasionally, I will let everyone know in advance, both on Twitter and both on the community tab on my YouTube channel. So that's the only reason we're an hour earlier today. We'll be back to our normal time tomorrow. But, you know, when I start the morning with y'all, I like to say y'all. I lived in Nashville for a while. I caught on to it. It does maintain that hope that, yeah, we can do better than this. We are a better country than this. And we don't deserve this. You know, they say in Batman, it's like, well, Batman's not the hero we need. Batman's the hero we deserve. And it's like, you know what? Bernie Sanders is the president we need. And he's also the president we deserve. Because the only reason he's gotten as far as he has is because of all of us. He hasn't gotten there on his own. He's gotten there because the movement wouldn't be silenced. And the only reason Iowa isn't even worse than what it is because the movement still won't be silenced. That's why. And you have these oligarchs who will try to tell you that something's totally false because their oligarch friends told them it was. And that's considered news. You have somebody who became a 100 millionaire well in office, who has been complicit in pretty much everything Trump's done, tear up a piece of paper. And you have some people who the boot is wedged that far in their mouth that they actually think that's meaningful action. You have all these things, and it's really easy to get cynical when you see that stuff. But then you meet the people in your community. And you meet the people who are doing something about homelessness, who are doing something for a grassroots candidate, who are doing something all across the country on their own dime to try to make this country a better place. And you think, yeah, we can do better. And, well, at times I can't help but feel like that character, like Jack Nicholson's character. I got to maintain the hope that we can do better. And, I'd have a really hard time maintaining that if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you. And the clip there, Joe. Moonborn Unicorn. By the way, tour dates, I got them. Tucson, this Saturday. Don't wait. Get your tickets now. Get them quick before they run out. Tucson, Arizona. We're going to be there. Me and Graham Elwood are going to be there this Saturday, February 8th, Tucson, Arizona. Tickets at romplacone.com. February 29th, San Francisco, California. Get your tickets. Don't wait. Can't wait to see you again, San Francisco. March 12th, Orlando, Florida. March 13th, Tampa, Florida. March 14th, Miami, Florida. April 9th, Concord University. I'll be there. That's just me. April 10th, I'll be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. April 24th, Seattle, Washington. April 25th, Portland, Oregon. That's what's coming up in the first third of the year. But we got dates all through 2020. Indianapolis, Detroit, Cleveland, Louisville, Nashville, Atlanta. Hold tight. Tickets are coming soon. Chicago, Milwaukee, Richmond, Virginia, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Boston, New York, Portland, Maine, Burlington, Vermont, Madison, Wisconsin, Minneapolis. Get your tickets. Don't wait. romplacone.com for all those tickets. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/romplacone for a give what you can level. You get all kinds of exclusive content, including my album. You get to download it, and you're going to help me build this show. I want to do more streams. I want to do more guests. I want to continue my Sounds of Revolution series that started with Jill Stein, where I interview musicians and musician-adjacent people about 2020. And I want to start doing mini documentaries about municipal broadband. We're almost at that goal. Even $1 a month goes a long way, and everyone gets all the same content. So please do consider it if you are so able. We're almost there, and I really want to start making these mini documentaries. I really want to bring city-owned internet to my neighborhood, and I want that to spread across the country. Why? Because the only way we're going to take this country back is one community at a time. I mean, there's just no getting around it. It's indisputable. One community at a time. That's the only way. It's not going to work any other way. It just won't. And one thing you can do in your community, there are many things, but one of the things you can do, city-owned internet. Without a solid communication vehicle, which we've come to know as the internet, how are we going to solve any of our other problems? We're not. And they took net neutrality from us. They're going to try to gut the internet and turn it into cable television 2.0. That's what they're going to try to do. They did it with TV. They did it with radio. Now they're going to try to do it with the internet. And if they succeed, the internet as we know it is dead. Shows like this are going to go away. Independent media that you've come to know and love and rely on, that'll go away. It won't be a free and open platform. So without that communication vehicle, what are we going to do? So you can bring city-owned internet to your community. You can start that fight where net neutrality will be written in the charter and you'll preserve the internet as we know it. That's something you can do in your community. That's what I'm trying to do in mine. That's the lane I'm trying to occupy. It's not easy. It has not been easy, and I've not succeeded yet. But I'm still working on it, and one of the things I want to do is I want to get these mini docs out so that more people can learn about this issue and how they can do it in their community. And together we'll build a resource for the country. It's already started and I want it to be amplified, and I'm almost at that goal, but I need resources. I need to be able to, the production editors that I need, the camera people that I need, they got bills to pay. They got to keep the lights on. They run companies. They can't just do this for charity. So patreon.com/Ron Placone if you are so able. Moonborn Unicorn. I think Mayor Cheat swapped his votes with Biden's. Definitely possible, Moonborn. Nathaniel Mercier. Oh, man, it just jumped on me. 2016 and 2020 coin flips favored establishment. Weird. Isn't that odd? Isn't that odd? Good call, Nathaniel. Poopy Cakes. Brilliant show, Ron. Thank you so much, Poopy Cakes. That means a lot. Sparky, who needs an app? Why not just text results? Nathaniel Mercier, Pelosi stood up to clap for Guaido. Yes, she did. Everything you need to know right there. # deep state. Yes, she did. But then she tore up a paper. Weren't you inspired? She tore up a paper. Sparky, Trump was glad Republicans lost the House in 2018 because it got rid of never Trumper globalist Paul Ryan as speaker. Trump can work with Nancy. Didn't Paul Ryan step down before that, though? But yeah, I feel you. Or was it after? I can't remember exactly when it was. But yeah, Paul Ryan just randomly stepped down. Trendy as Dabbers. Did you put the trendy pain oil on your neck yet? Yes, I did. I put it on my neck last night. And yeah, it helped. It helped. I think I needed to put a more on. I don't think I put enough on. I think I should have put on a little bit more. But I did put it on my neck last night. And I'm going to try it again tonight. And my fiance put some on her ankle. I think she got like a cut on her ankle or something like that. But she put some on her ankle as well. So I'll give a more full report later. And let's see, Nathaniel. I can't see your last one here. Nathaniel, everyone watching, like and share. We are the revolution. Thank you, Ron. Thank you very much for that, Nathaniel. Thank you guys so much. Let me give a quick other thank you to all of our super chatters here. Moonborn Unicorn, Nathaniel, Poopy Cake, Sparky, Nathaniel again, Sparky, Trendy as Dabbers, Nathaniel. Thank you very much for your super chat contributions. Thank you very much for making this show possible, guys. We are. Oh, and Trendy as Dabbers. Thank you again. Let me try to get your last one out there here. Rub it in hard. All right. I will. No, it definitely helped. Like it definitely helped my neck. And now I feel like it's wearing off because like my neck's feeling a little stiff again. But yeah, I think I will continue. But it did help. And yeah, I'll have a more thorough testimonial soon. But I did try it. And I did like it. So, guys, thank you so much for making this possible. We were an hour early today only. I like being an hour later. This is not normal. Every now and again, I need to alter the time. Kathy Lloyd, thank you so much. You know I love those pears. And you gave me a pear looking in a mirror. I look in a mirror and I look at a pear and I'm like, pear, I'm going to eat you. I want to eat that. That looks delicious. I love pears. I freaking love pears. Pears are one of my favorite fruits. My favorite fruit is pineapple, second kiwi, third pears. So I don't know if they have like pineapple or kiwis, but give me some of those. It's one of the things I love about Australia. I had the best kiwi I've ever had in my life, by the way. Now I know kiwis are made in New Zealand, but they're made. They're grown mostly in New Zealand. They're made there. They're made in the Tim Tams are made in Australia. The kiwis, they're made in New Zealand. But Australia's a lot closer. to New Zealand than the States. So still best. I've not been to New Zealand, so the closest. Anyway, thank you for that, Kathy Lloyd. Thank you, everybody. We will be back at our normal time tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. That's our normal time. That's when Get Your News On with Ron always happens, unless noted otherwise. Today was a special situation. We had to start an hour earlier. You know, that's not my thing. Not much of a morning person. So thank you for tuning in earlier. I appreciate it very much. We will be back at our normal time tomorrow. Normal time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. We'll be back at our normal time tomorrow. Today was an exception. Thank you so much for tuning in early. We'll be back at our normal time tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Until then, in the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace. See you tomorrow.